SJW agenda hasn't just affected what you see on the screen, but it has made huge impacts on things behind the scenes, both in entertainment and regular life, including jobs, the idea of consent, and even how we are supposed to communicate. Teachers fired for not giving a student a 50%, but instead wanting to give a student a 0% for not turning in or even doing homework. Our society seems to care far too much about feelings and making people feel accepted, rather than for those people to actually put in the work to feel and be accepted in the areas they want to be a part of, such as graduating, meaning people are getting passed through with far less credentials, if any at all. Would you want your surgeon to be passed through medical school, or to be putting in the work to show that they deserve to actually graduate and know what they're doing? That's why I believe we should have an unemployment rate, so that not everyone has a job just for the sake of it. That to do a job, the person must actually be able to perform the duties and qualify for doing that job. I've always actually believed in that, because it's ridiculous just to give people a job for the sake of saying they have a job. Disney removing Rose Tico from merchandise to bring back fans. Disney decided to take Rose Tico off the merchandise after the onslaught of hate she received from fans, becoming the target of memes and being partially blamed for why the Star Wars movies weren't up to expectations, both just from the audience reactions and from the box office. So to try to win those fans back, Disney took all the images of her off of all the merchandise. She is also minimally shown in the trailers and or any marketing for the movie Rise of Skywalker. Keeping with the Disney theme, Disney's diversity agenda for hiring people below Bob Iger. Iger said that he sees the lack of diversity for who directly reports to him, but will change that before he leaves Disney in 2021, hiring based off race and gender, not on who's qualified to actually fit the role and do the job principles that are needed. Marvel meeting, feeling like the only woman in the room. This is coming from Trin Tran, confusing being the only female in the room for everyone has different creative ideas, because no two people think alike. Everyone comes from different backgrounds and have different experiences in life, some good, some bad, and can bring something different to the creative table that isn't in any way, shape, or form dependent on race or gender. And she's saying that she's in a room, she feels a lot like that she's the only woman, and all of a sudden, because she is a woman, that she now brings a different idea to the table that maybe nobody else would have thought of. That's not dependent on gender or race at all. But I digress. A man suing his parents for conceiving him without his consent. Not a young child, but a full-grown adult wanted to sue his parents because he, their son, didn't consent to something that he wasn't even there for to give consent. Being encouraged to be so snowflake sensitive to do something he couldn't speak upon for what? To be unborn if he wins the lawsuit? Trying to take the word man out of the English language, as the feminists believe our language doesn't represent women to the fullest. Asking a baby for their consent to change their diaper. When the baby isn't able to speak, they still want the parents to ask the baby for permission. And what if the baby says no? Just leave the dirty diaper on and create rashes and eventual health issues for the child? Most of these examples wrap around the idea of pandering, but doing so for the wrong reasons. Pandering to bring in a new audience by changing what the current audience loves about the movie, like swapping gender and race, should be more insulting to the new audience in mind, as to say that without trying to cater to what they immediately catch their attention or to what they can relate to, that you wouldn't be interested in what they were making, that they have to show certain characters in certain races and genders to make the characters likable. If you have a good, likable character, people will gravitate towards it. For the examples that I listed previously, it's like taking over someone else's Instagram account and posting your own photos and being mad when people don't like what you do with your platform. And it's also, in a much more simple way to explain it, it's like taking over a business that sells nothing but cherry-flavored foods and drinks, changing the flavor to banana, but keeping the same marketing for it being cherry flavor, not changing the name, and trying to force-feed, metaphorically and literally, your new flavor down everyone's throats and being mad if the reception for it isn't good and why it may be losing when it comes to business. This video isn't me trying to shame or talk down on leading roles starring any gender or race. It is to show how some people think of their audiences in a way that they are too closed off and shallow to not like something unless there's something in it that directly correlates to their race or gender or doesn't advocate for the SJW agenda, and to be their version of progressive. It's like taking Black Panther and making all the characters white and mostly women, and then possibly calling it Black Panther, Whiteconda, and Woke. And trying to speak on it as it's progressive when the audience for Black Panther wasn't just black. It was a good movie with likable characters and a really good storyline, and the visual effects were amazing. So being that it actually is a good movie That's why people wanted to go see it. Whether any movie's characters are a man or a woman, or any race to begin with, the point is, if the character is able to be liked and makes you feel certain ways about either them, their story, or the situations around them, then the general audience would be excited to see them. That's all a true moviegoer wants. Talking about things that are serious and need to be talked about helps bring awareness to the issue, whereas not talking about them only prolongs how they'll be keeping up and get worse. That's why I made this video, to keep the conversation going and bring light to some examples of what's been going on all around us. We live in a narcissistic world, more so the selfie obsession world and participation trophy culture, where everyone has to win. But how would that encourage kids to strive for more than what they're already getting? The same society and generation that, generally speaking, is raising disrespectful kids that talk back and act rudely to others that have no manners. That Black Friday means going to the mall to film fights rather than to actually do shopping, and is actually pushing Black Friday back into Thanksgiving, to not even be able to appreciate the whole holiday for what it is. And parents wanting to be friends with their kids to stay liked by them instead of being their parents for fear their kids won't like them. Where likes and followers mean more in self-worth and self-value and self-validation than the respect and love from those around them. Where divorce rate is high because people would rather opt out when times get tough and take to social media than to stay and work things out. People are becoming way too sensitive. They used to have thick skin, but now instead of learning to ignore things and possibly just avoiding them as a whole, they're letting everything offend them and become personal, or find things to be offended by, and going out of their way to do so as well. Kids are supposed to be our future, but are we setting them up for success by trying too much to protect their feelings than to let them fail when it's appropriate and to let them learn from their mistakes? Or to teach them that if they don't like something, that they can just avoid the idea or situation altogether, that they can just stay away as necessary instead of just complaining and making themselves out to be victims of crimes going on in their own head. I've just become very disappointed in society for so many people not wanting to take any accountability or responsibility, but would rather try to blame others to keep their fragile egos intact instead of learn from mistakes to build character. Unfortunately, the truth is very ugly, but what's even uglier is allowing problems as big and bad as what society has turned into to continue, stay complaining, and take no action progressively to fix it, because that would mean to actually look inward at the problem rather than to take the easy route and blame someone else. So I hope you guys got something from the video. Again, I know it's probably pretty lengthy. I can't see the time on my camera right now, but I'm certain that it's gone on for quite a while. For any of you guys that made it this far, thank you very much for appreciating the work that I put into this, and I hope that you got something out of this. The main problem is not about gender, it's not about race, it's not about any of that. It's about having to force feed ideas down people's throats that do not want to be a part of that. And that's what hopefully you got from this video. If you like the content, please subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever I make a new video. If you like this video, please give it a like and leave your thoughts down below. I'm very curious. Please, let's get a discussion going on this video. Please leave a comment down below so that way I can kind of get an understanding as to what you guys think. Again, this is not a racist video. This is not anything that's supposed to be going against any particular group of anybody. It's more so just the topic on why today's society is just going downhill in more ways than one. But I will be waiting for you guys' comments to see what you guys say, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, have a good day.